Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to a new edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. And to my far right, we got my main man, KJ, Kevin
That's right.
Johnson,
That's right.
Clemson cornerback, 99 through 2002. And today's special guest, we got an offensive coordinator slash quarterback coach. This
Oh,
guy's
yeah,
running
man.
academy out in Arizona. He's been working with the youth for a long time. He's a former quarterback from Scottsdale,
Mhm.
Arizona. Now he's working with the youth. Y'all give it up for my
Come on,
host,
man.
yes, Mike
Hey,
Giovando.
what's up?
What's
What's up,
going
Mike?
on,
How you
Mike?
doing?
Hey guys, great to be with you guys tonight, man. Looking
I
forward to
appreciate it, Mike.
chopping it up. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Sure, man.
sir. Yes,
Appreciate you
sir.
coming on.
For the
Anytime.
people that don't know you, Mike, let them know a little bit about yourself and your background.
Uh, Born and raised pretty much here in Arizona. Born in Tucson. My dad was a Wildcat, played at Arizona. He was a defensive end at the time. Didn't play quarterback, so that didn't come from him. But then he went on to coach college football basically my whole life. Junior college primarily. That was his kind of his baby. He loved the JUCO stuff, and spent 40 years coaching in that at that level. Myself grew up with football in my life, obviously my whole life from a baby to now. It hasn't changed.
All right.
Mom was a piano teacher, so you can see all the stuff behind me with the guitars, and I had a love for both growing up, and I did my best to be able to kind of pursue both, but in high school kind of had to pick, and I went more with the football and basketball. I played 3 sports in high school and did all that stuff,
All
and
right.
had a good high school career, had opportunities to play right out of high school, decided I wanted to pursue music, and I did that for about 8 years, and it was I'm glad I did it. Like I said, it was just as tough as making it in music as it is in athletics. You got to grind, and you got to put your heart and soul into it. And you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you're trying to be great at. You're going to have to spend some real time doing it, and you're going to have to be dedicated, and you're going to have to you can't cut any corners. And so
That's right.
I went that route for about 8 years. Didn't play right out of high school. Came back and played. I think 8 years later, I played. My dad was coaching at Phoenix College, and I said, you know what? I missed this. I'm gonna give this a go. 8 years later, went back and started for 2 years at Phoenix College, a junior college out here. After I'd done my 2 years, I was 27 years old. I said, you know what? I think I'm good, and I jumped right back into coaching, and I actually started coaching from then on till now. So 30 years, 31 years of coaching football or training quarterbacks. So um, I've got to go all around the world to do this football stuff. I think I mentioned to you I've been to India. Took football to India in 2012. The first Americans to try to bring that sport there, and I was there for about 3 years. Had teams in Mumbai, Delhi, Pakistan, everywhere. And then after that venture, kind of jumped into full time doing the quarterback stuff. I'd been training quarterbacks for about 20 plus years now, but probably for the last 12 years, been doing nothing but that. And it's taken me a lot of places and given me some great opportunities. So, and here I sit with you guys now. So, pleasure to be here.
We appreciate you coming on the show, Mike. KJ lost his connection for a second. Hopefully he'll be back.
Yes, sir.
So, talk about your first sport growing up. Which sport did you play first, or did you start off with music?
Well, it's funny you say that. I probably started off playing tackle football when I was 7 years old, right out the gate. Started playing ball. Um, that was the first sport I played, and then probably baseball, because the little league little league baseball is pretty accessible when you're young. And then basketball, probably about age 8 or 9, and played those 3 sports all through all through high school, all through youth. Started piano lessons when I was about 7. Took those for about 8 years, 7 years, and then so I was kind of doing, kind of had a mix of that. So that's kind of where I started with everything, and I just had a love for the passion for both, and that's just all about my whole life's revolved around that, since I can remember. I mean, I've had a few other things in my life that I've ventured and done and tried in the business world, but I've always kind of come back to what I love, and that's what I do.
Okay. All right. So talk about Arizona a little bit. How was it, living there, playing ball there, growing up in Arizona?
Oh, it's great. Um, Obviously football now compared to when I was in high school has gotten in Arizona has really, really gotten big. It's it's putting out a lot of great players these days. And, 1985, 81, 82, 83, 45, that's when I was playing high school football. It's different, a different time. You know what I mean? You weren't throwing the ball all over the yard, and it was a little bit different, kind of just the game was different back then. And so, but it was I had a great time. I got a great time playing football, growing up, through high school, junior college, youth. No, nothing negative at all to say. It was, and then, just being around football every day with my dad being a junior college coach, spend as much time out on the field with him as I could, when I could be around, I just remember being around a game at 3 or 4 years old, just couldn't wait to go to practice and be around the guys. And you know what I mean? I just love the atmosphere. And I don't know anything else. I wish I did, but I don't. This is what I know, so now football in Arizona is, obviously it's taken huge steps. And I have 2 quarterbacks right now, Spencer Rattler and Jack Plummer, that are both in the NFL. Plummer with the Panthers, and Spence with the Saints. And there's a couple other guys out here from Arizona. I don't train them, but Brock Purdy, 49er guy, another Arizona guy.
Yeah.
And then there's a kid this year that's coming out from Louisville, played Louisville last year, Tyler Shugg. He had a really good combine. He's another Arizona guy. So, just in the last couple of years, you're looking at 4 or 5, guys played high school football right in my backyard are all in the league. So, pretty cool, and I've got about 27 guys in college right now. And I've got 2 or 3 guys that are really about making some big splashes, and we'll talk about them, as you guys want to learn a little bit more about that. But yeah, it's going great out here. It really is.
Man, we'd love to have all of them on the show too, as well. For sure, man.
Oh, I can talk to some guys for you guys for sure. They'd love to do it, I'm sure. Good guys.
That's good. Sure. So is Jack Plummer Jake's son?
They always ask that. No, he's not. He always laughs about that, but he's just happened to have the same last name as Plummer, as Jake, obviously, and pretty close with the Jack and the Jake. But but he gets that a lot. But no, he's just a kid from Gilbert, Arizona, out here, and played at Gilbert High School. One of those kids that kind of stayed at his local high school. He didn't try to find the premier high school. He just stayed in his neighborhood and played for his team, the school that he was supposed to go to. Nowadays, everybody just jumps around and moves, and that's just the way it is. But then he went to Purdue for 3 years, or 3 or 4 years, I believe. Went to Cal and then finished up at Louisville. So, pretty happy about the success he's had. It's, I've had him since he was probably 12 or 13. And that's 13 years with him. Same with Spence. Spence was about 11. Spencer Rattler, when I met him, and started working with him. So those guys are in town right now. So I see them just about every other day. I'll see them tomorrow. We got a workout tomorrow. And, they're just loyal guys. And they, you know what I mean? We keep it real kind of close. We keep our circles close and tight. And because, everybody wants to get a piece of somebody,
Man.
Once they get to that point. Right. And we've just built a bunch of loyal guys out here that, people see what can happen if a lot of kids want to jump around. They want to go here. They want to go there. They want to try this guy. They want to try that guy. And then they're just getting a lot of information. A lot of it's not the same, or they're getting coached differently from one guy than they are another guy. And the next thing you know, you're actually getting worse. You know what I mean? Then you are getting better. So with me, I just kind of tell my guys, hey, if you like it, stay here, and you'll get where you need to go. you know, we'll take you where you need to go. Got a couple kids next year that actually already have Heisman. You can go on FanDuel and find them on Heisman odds. Devin Dampier played at New Mexico last year. Was one of the few guys in the country since Lamar. I think he was on the list of Lamar, Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and there was one other I can't remember, Lamar Jackson. But last year at New Mexico, Devin threw for over 2,500 and rushed for I think 1,200. And so he played at New Mexico last year, and Utah now he'll be the quarterback for the Utes for the next couple of years. He's electric. Devin Dampier, and then a kid named Damon Williams, who will be the starter at Washington the next 3 or 4 years for sure. Another kid that's really good. And I'm actually doing a pro day up in Washington on Monday for Will Rogers, played at Mississippi State led the SEC all time in passing. And then last year finished up at Washington. So he's been down here. I'm gonna head up there Monday and do his pro day. So, you know, I get to be around some great ones, you know.
You got a busy schedule.
Yeah, but it's I wouldn't trade for anything, you know.
Sure. Oh yeah.
So you know, you're doing what you love, you're doing what you always knew. By the time you reached middle school, were you still playing quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about that a little bit. How did you know that was the position for you?
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, I loved quarterbacks when I was a young kid. I loved when I got to remember I grew up. I'm older, man, but yeah. I remember you know, the first quarterbacks I remember are Joe Namath and Roger Staubach and, you know, those kind of guys. You know, that's how far back I was little, right? And Terry Bradshaw, and I mean, I can go on and on from the quarterbacks, and I just was always fascinated by that guy. Got to touch the ball all the time. He got to throw it. He got, you know what I mean? Like as a kid, it seemed like I don't know, you know, just like, man, that's got to be it. If you're going to play ball, that's got to be what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I just kind of gravitated towards that. But oddly enough, I also wanted to be a receiver, you know what I mean? Back when I was probably 3rd or 4th grade. And so I didn't really decide to play quarterback. I kind of got thrown into it in the middle of a Pop Warner game when our quarterback got hurt. And Little League, there's no backups. And they were like, "You're in." I'm like, okay. I'm at probably 5th grade. And went in and never looked back from there. You know, just that's when I knew, like, yeah, I can do this. This is what I want to do. And I just played the position, you know, for a long time, you know, just from youth through high school and, you know, junior college, the whole time. And I mean, there was just no other position for me, you know?
Yep.
Okay. And so, your first year in high school, did you play right away at the quarterback position?
Well, you played freshman and JV. I did the whole, you know, I climbed the ranks, you know what I mean? I started as on my freshman team, and then I started on my sophomore year, and then got brought up to the varsity, and then played my junior and senior year. And then, like I said, after that, I had to make a decision if I wanted to keep playing, you know, right out of high school, or, you know, did I really want to pursue this music thing and see what that was all about? And, you know, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna give this music thing a run. I mean, I loved music just as much as football, and so that's kind of what happened. And then did that for a while. But as I was playing music at the age of 20, I was still in Arizona. It was a big music scene out here. And we were trying to get recognized and trying to find a label to sign us and all that kind of stuff. One of my good friends of my dad's, who's a coach, his name's Jim Bevel. His son, Daryl Bevel, is the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, the Vikings. He's with the Dolphins. He's the quarterback coach with the Dolphins. So Daryl's about my age. We're pretty close friends. Daryl's dad was coaching high school football in 1988 and said, "Hey, I don't want you to like give up football all along." He knew I was doing music. He goes, "Will you come and coach my JV and then help me coach on the varsity?" So at 20 years old, I was learning the ropes of coaching, you know. So I did that for 3 years as I was pursuing the music stuff as well. So I never really got away from football 100%. You know what I mean? Like I always had that foot in the door. And it was, you know, like at 20 years old, being able to coach and call plays, you know, in high school. I mean, that's a big responsibility. And I knew I loved that as well. I'm like, man, I like this too. You know, it's like being a songwriter. You're creating melodies and beats and lyrics and grooves and, you know, everything. You're creating all that. And then as an offensive coordinator, you're doing the same. You're creating movement, you know, with pass routes and formations, and everything's got to work together, you know, for it to come out successful. So I could correlate the two, oddly enough. You know what I mean? Like my mind worked the same way when it came to both. And so I'm glad for that opportunity. I'm glad I got to do that. It was, and then right after, I said, right after my junior college football career was done, I could have moved on, but I'd used my eligibility up already as far as the Division I left, because I graduated 8 years, you know, before I decided to play again. I graduated from high school, and you know, the JUCO rules are different. As long as you've never played, you can go back at 50 and play football or basketball. As long as you've never played, you can go back to junior college and play a sport. As long as you've never played that sport, you know.
Yep.
So after I had some opportunities, I was like, do I really want to do this anymore? I tore my rotator cuff and I tore my patella tendon. And I said, you know what, I just jumped right into coaching, got back in with another high school, and pretty much never looked back from there. Coached straight through, you know what I mean, for about 25 years, just high school, junior college, high school. And that's, you know, and then now don't coach. I do more, I guess you would say that I'm more of a consultant now for a lot of high school coaches and teams. I come in, I'll do some clinics, put some talk ball with them. They're, you know, talk schemes and, you know, passing game, whatever they're looking for. And, and then, you know, train my guys year round. And now that gives me an opportunity to go see my guys playing in college on a Saturday. I can go here. I can go to the Saints. I got to go see Spence, you know, make 2 starts last year for the Saints. And so I was freed up a little bit. But I'm always willing to help any high school program, or you know, anybody that wants, you know, information or just wants to talk ball. That's kind of what I do now as far as the coaching part of it goes. So I'm still pretty involved, but I'm just not tied to a team, you know what I mean? Or school. Yeah.
I understand. Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I got some highlights we can show from Spencer from last season. He was a rookie, coming from University of South Carolina Gamecocks. For everybody who's watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Deezer, and Facebook. Also on Instagram, we have offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Mike Giovando. Okay, Mike, stay with us. We don't own the rights to the video or any of the music in the clip. Okay.
From the 4, Rattler, everybody covered. Rattler taking off, heading for the pylon, drilled though out of bounds. Spencer Rattler get the ball across. That plane extends out of bounds as long as you're not out of bounds, and you can see here he wasn't.
After doing the play, the runner broke the goal line. It's a touchdown.
That's Jacobson, tight end, setting up on the far side. Pocket's good for Rattler, corner of the end zone, touchdown! Held on that time.
Slot receivers right here. Little out, little up, gets behind the defender, touchdown. Great ball by Rattler.
Shift the fullback into kind of a wing back over to the right side on the deep drop after the play fake. And going for the bundle, wide open. Got it inside the 5.
A little beat up, some moving parts. He's going to have to create.
Right on cue, he rolls out to start the day, and he finds Jawan Johnson. And right away. Now Rattler trying to buy some time, and he's going to try to take off and slither his way to a first down into Tampa Bay territory. 2 picks, first 5 games, 2 picks today. Rattler with the fake, the pump, the throw for the lead, a touchdown.
Ave out with the concussion. Watch this release. Just spins Thunderbird in a circle.
Have you ever been to Marco?
No, got on the bucket list here. Meanwhile, Rattler throws it open at the 30-yard line, making the catch, taking it to the 40.
180, what's
And the call he sends in on a 3rd and 2 is play action, avoiding the sack, getting away, deep into Denver territory.
They bring everybody up, play man-to-man coverage. It's a good job of feeling this by Rattler and then climbing the pocket. Couple guys he's able to get away from. And once he got away from the initial surge, there's just nobody left because of the man-to-man coverage. And this time he is looking to run once he gets out of there and has the speed to get some very valuable yards.
Got to get smart in how you build your formations.
2nd down at 11. Rattler fires downfield. What a catch by from the 42-yard line. Rattler complete. Valdez Scantling. Another Saints first down.
But they're not going to be prepared for the run.
All right, here we go. Rattler throws, end zone, touchdown!
The Saints really have not done anything to slow them down.
Rattler over the middle. Nice throw and catch. Morrow. Oh, you went there. Look at you.
I'm not saying he is Lawrence Taylor. I'm not saying that at all.
3rd down and 17. Jump pass, and what a beauty. Wow, to Pettis.
Got to do, and he's, this guy, watching him, he's a little, you mentioned Favre a little bit earlier, and he definitely has a little bit of this gunslinger mentality.
From the sideline, missing his 3rd straight game. How about this? This is one positive that we have seen all year from Spencer. Saints will take on the Bucs in what could be a crucial game for Tampa Bay. Throwback from Miller to Rattler. Looking deep. Looking end zone. Foster Morrow touchdown.
The trickeration. The Harlem Globetrotters must be in town. But watch Kendre Miller. That's one of the most important throws of this play. And then you get Rattler. A lot of times you throw it to the guy on the near side coming towards you, but they decide to throw it to the hometown. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He was playing pretty efficient ball.
Rattler, that's a nice throw. Oh, and a hurdle by Joe. Looking at about a 58-yard field goal here. Rupees long is a yard shy of that. Floater down the sideline. It is caught. His mom Susan, is a cancer survivor. He's seen some personal issues. He's got a nice demeanor about him. He's got some arm talent, too.
Rotating at running backs, and they'll take it here. Rattler stands in and throws a Gar Johnson in stride out across the
Force in there.
snowball. Here is Rattler firing end zone. Caught for the...
But that ball comes out of Rattler's hands so quick on the play action. And he's got Pettis, who runs a terrific route on Hayes to spring himself free. Kind of went in and then back out. I use the word twitchy a lot. That was twitchy.
Yes, sir. We're back.
He did a great job, man.
Pretty good stuff, man, for sure.
So talk about Spencer a little bit. You say you coached him since he was 11 years old.
Yeah.
He's in the NFL, working with him tomorrow. Talk about him and the challenges he faced as a kid to get to the next level.
Just like anybody, it's like you just got to keep proving it every year. You know what I mean? Like, when you're trying to get to that plateau, you got to stay dedicated. You got to stay hungry. You got to stay humble. You got to stay competitive. You know what I mean? Like all those things. The challenges I had with him probably as a young kid was once he got to the point where he was a lot better than everybody in his age group, was like, okay, you're in 7th grade, but not anymore. You're now in high school. You're now going to throw with kids 5, 6, 7 years older than you, because you being down here with these guys, it's not helping you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The only way you get better is to get around people that are better than you. Otherwise, you have no idea what it looks like. You just kind of sit in your bubble thinking everything's good. And the minute you get around guys that are better than you, or there's really some competition, it could be a little bit of a shell shock. You know what I mean? Like, oh crap,
yep.
These guys, wow. So I guess the environment I've always tried to create with everybody is like, when you're ready, we're gonna get you around the better guys. are not going to keep you there with guys that are still learning or not as further ahead as you are, or have those natural. Some guys just naturally. He was a natural thrower as a young kid. You could just see it. You know what I mean? It's like, man, he's pretty special as an 11-year-old. Had good mechanics and just understood how. Some people like that. That's just. But now my job is to mentor him through, to try to push him to be, better than he can ever be. And that's all I've been doing for the last 12 years with him, is pushing him and challenging him, and you know what I'm saying, and making sure that when as a young kid, when you're doing something goofy, I let you know. You can't do that. You're different than everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, if you are a talented guy with a lot of opportunities, if you think about this, most high school teams, I mean, I'm just going to throw a number out there. They're lucky if they have 3 or 4 Division I players on their high school team. Most high schools, maybe. Now, some high schools are different when you're playing in these elite, but, typically, for a guy to be able to get to the highest, level, there's not a ton of those guys on every team. So all those other guys on the team, they don't have as much to lose as you do. And so when you're hanging around and doing knucklehead stuff with a bunch of knuckleheads that don't have, I'm not saying that everyone on the team's a knucklehead, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you.
When you're not, sometimes you got to make sacrifices, and those sacrifices are like, I can't go out on Friday night. I can't go out on Saturday night. You know what I mean? I can't go do this. I don't want to be caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. I tell all my kids this, you know what I mean? Because everybody's watching you. They want to see what you're doing. Because because at the end of the day, the sad thing is everybody wants to see that person slip up. I don't. You know what I mean? But everybody wants to see that person slip up, and they can go, I told you so. And the only reason people are like that is because they can't do it. And so that envy and that jealousy and all that, which most people say, oh, I'm not that way. I'm not. Yeah, we are a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But so I guess more. I try to mentor, not only him but all the guys in that same thought process. Is like, you're different, and if you want to get to where you want to go, you're gonna have to make some change. You're gonna have to make sure you're around the right people all the time, and doing the right stuff, and learning how to be a leader. You know what I mean? Tom Brady said it best. A quarterback has, number one, I tell my kids this all the time. It's come straight from Brady. You got to be able to throw. If you can't throw, you can't play quarterback, right? You know what I mean? If you can't throw a punch, you probably can't box, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got to have you got to have a punch to be a boxer, As a quarterback, you got to throw. And he said, you got to think, you got to be able to think, right? And that's just process everything, pre-snap, post-snap. You know what I mean? Defense, offense, what everybody's doing. You got to know what all 22 guys are doing, Receivers really don't. They want to know what's going on in the back end as they run their route. I mean, running backs looking at the front, maybe seeing who's blitzing in protection and seeing who he's picking up, or reading the defensive line to see where he's going to cut back. And you know what I mean? But the quarterback has to see the whole thing. So you got to be a thinker, and you got to be intelligent. I think you got to be intelligent, really intelligent, to be a really successful guy. And then you got to be able to lead. If you can't lead people, you're not gonna. It's not gonna work. You know what I mean? If you're selfish, if you're greedy, if you're, you just want all the, it's me. It's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about me. That'll get you so far, and then in the end, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work anymore. Yeah. So those are, it comes straight from Tom Brady, but nothing could be more true. Throw, think, and lead, right? I mean, and that's what I tell my kids when they're little, all the way, still, you still got. I'm sure now you're Spence and you're Jack and these guys, and you're getting in a huddle with guys that are 37, 38 years old and have family and kids, and you're 23, and they're looking at you going, okay, young man, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You gonna go? Because if you have that ability to do that, they're gonna jump on board, fight for you. You know,
Oh, yeah.
if they don't like you or think you're, don't have it, then it's gonna be a struggle. So I think that's a hard thing to work on, right? Leading, I mean, there's, you don't, I mean, that's a hard thing. Some people are natural at it, very natural. You see that person and you're like, man, I know that I want to listen to them. They know, you know what I mean? It's funny because when Spencer played, I want to say they played a game where Brady was calling the game, and Spence was starting, and he said Tom was on the field pregame and came down and shook his hand, and Brady goes, man, and Spence goes, that was an aura around that guy. He was like, that was like, I shook his hand like I was, shaking someone on, Mount Everest. Like that guy had it, whatever it was. I wanted it to rub off on me. You know what I mean? So you could see it, right when you're around somebody, you're like, yeah, that guy's the guy we want to, same with coaches, right? We've all played for a lot of coaches. Some are better leaders than others. Some are better X's and O's guys than they are leaders. Not that they're a bad coach. They're just not, that's just not their, that's not their main thing. They're really good on the field, on the board. So that's that's the thing that just anything you guys are doing, business, anything. If you are a great leader, you'll probably have a successful business, a successful life.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Hey, so I know, coming out of high school, you started your music career.
Yes.
What all places did you travel? Do you have any hits?
Well, the thing was, you had to back when I was back in it was late 80s, early 90s. It was all local scene, a big local scene out here in Arizona, and you were trying to find the venue to play at, and you were trying to get, what I'm saying, you were trying to be able to get a Friday night and a Saturday at a place where people were, and so it was all about the hustle. It was all about the grind, rehearsal. You'd go play a show in front of 2 people sometimes. Sometimes you'd play a show and it was just a grind, and it was just a learning experience. And we finally caught fire like in 1990, and so my music, I'm older, but like we weren't like I wasn't a heavy rock. It wasn't like hard rock, crazy hard rock. It wasn't country. It was bands like U2. Everyone's heard of U2, Coldplay. It kind of had it. Yeah, it kind of had it. It wasn't super poppy, but it was, it had its own genre, right? And we were good. We'd actually got to the point where we were really good, and we were opening up for some bands that would come into town, and we would get the spot, to open shows, and that's kind of what you're trying to do. And then a guy latched onto us, and I'm telling you, he was with the Mafia. His name was Tony DiMaria. I remember. I'm like, this guy is a Mafia guy. He's got to be. But the music industry is probably it has a lot of those ties anyway. I mean, when you get into the dark side of that stuff, it's you know what I mean? Yeah. And there was a part of me when we did get our opportunity to have the deal, and they came to our house and laid the papers out and wanted us to sign. And when I read through the contract, because I was the primary songwriter and everything, and that it was like, we didn't own anything. We didn't own any rights. We didn't own any publishing. And I was like, is this a standard deal here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, how do we make any money? How do we, oh, well, what happens is you get loaned money, and then you work. And once you get paid back, it's just, and that's kind of how it's been until probably where people can do the YouTube and stream and kind of be their own marketing guy. But back when I grew up, that didn't work that way. That's why you see a lot of older, like just even rock guys that were in rock bands in the 70s, they're still touring and playing. A lot of them are doing it because they can, still make money. And a lot of them are doing it because they owe the record labels money from 30, 40 years ago. So they still have to go out to some club and, you know what I mean? And play. And that's why people are like, why are they still playing? They're probably still in debt. You know what I mean? To that. So I personally walked away from the deal. I said, no, I didn't want to do it. And that was kind of the end at that point, where guys kind of went their separate ways eventually, just because I just didn't feel the deal was right. And we'd spent 7 or 8 years busting our butts, to maybe feel like we could, have opportunity to be successful. And then to realize like, you're probably going to be working for them for another 15, 20 years until you really see anything, you know what I mean? And so, harsh reality check, but I dealt with it okay. And some of the other guys went on and had some success, with various projects and things like that. And so, no regrets. Do I regret that I didn't sign the deal? Not really. Cause I think, like I said, it just didn't feel right, and and I was 23 at the time, and you got to be able to have that discernment, as a young person, to be like, I don't think this is the way I don't want to turn down this road. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's kind of what happened, but I still write, record, and I still get, it's my passion. It's what I do I don't drink and all. I've never really got into drugs or alcohol my whole life. Thank God, never had any problems messing with that kind of stuff, due to the fact that I can come home and sit here and just wrap my brain around some music and just sit here and record. You know what I mean? That's kind of everyone's got to have an outlet. It can't be football for me 24 hours a day.
24/7, yeah.
I got to have something. You know what I mean? And is it going to be on the radio tomorrow? No, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I want to just do it for my well-being. You know what I mean? That whatever that is, the gym, whatever that is that people need to do to, you know what I mean? To stay sane, to stay right, and to stay, to stay, upbeat and not get burned out, I guess would be the word.
Balance out.
Yeah.
So we have another clip right here. This is basically showing you working with the kids at your camp. We're going to come back and talk about it a little bit after this clip. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Spotify, Deezer, and Instagram, okay? We have office coordinator and quarterbacks coach, Mike Giovando, okay? Let's go ahead and get into the clip. I don't own the rights to it. And stay with us, Mike, okay?
Got it.
Yes, sir. We back. So see Spencer back there.
Yeah, that was probably 2017. So he was
gonna
probably
say that.
sophomore.
That's some good footwork, though. For real.
Yeah.
So he ended up being the #1 quarterback in the nation.
Yeah.
He was televised on a show. I forget it was called Elite something.
QB1.
QB1. I'm sorry.
Yeah, QB1, okay.
QB1.
And that was on Netflix. Talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, man. That was nice.
The great thing about that was the guy that they showed first. So that was 8 years ago. That time flies. And I know a lot more now than I did then, right? I mean, you're always growing, you're always learning. But I look back at those drills now. I'm like, man, we were doing some good stuff back then, And the guy they first showed, Sean Renfrey, he was the kid that the older guy. Well, he was my first guy that made it to the league. He played at Duke. And then in 2012 went to the Falcons. It was the Falcons for 5 years. And he had come back and wanted to show the kids some stuff that he had learned and stuff. And so it was kind of cool. So we shot a video that day of him kind of being there and just being a mentor to the guys. But yeah, so I want to say that was 2017 or 2018, probably 17. A couple of years later, Spence going into his senior year, Netflix approached him and asked him if he wanted to do QB1. And I want to say it was their third season that they were doing. I'd never really seen the show. I think I watched it here and there, and I went and watched it, and I'm like, it seems harmless. It seems like good opportunity for exposure, and you know what I mean, kind of a neat deal. And so he did that that whole season, going in his senior year before he went to Oklahoma. They were out here pretty much from August to December, shooting that, and a lot more obviously time commitment from him and his family. They shot a lot of stuff with us, but they'd show a clip here or there, no big deal. But I think he learned a lot, what it's going to be like, when the camera's in your face. And you know what I mean? I think in a way, as a young kid, you learn a lot. You can go back and look at it and go, man, I didn't know I was doing that, or you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know I said that, or you're not really thinking, and you're the number one quarterback in the country, and you're going to Oklahoma, and you won the Elite 11, and now you're on a TV show. I mean, and you're only 17 or 18. I mean, wow. And you got to stay humble. You know what I mean? And you got to stay grounded. And I thought he really has his whole life. He's got great parents. Mom and dad are awesome. So he's never had, like he's always had that support. And then, myself and a few other guys that he's around on a regular basis that kind of keep him on the straight and narrow with just the way he's thinking and whatever he needs. But yeah, it was an interesting time for sure. Yeah. I'm sure he's glad he had the opportunity to participate in that, and probably can look back at it now and go, yeah, this was good. Probably shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should have said, who knows, right? If I could go back and change everything that I did 30 years, 40 years ago, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but no. Yeah. And now they don't even have that show anymore.
Nope.
I thought it was a good show. I thought it was. I thought it was cool the way they did it, but they don't. So maybe they'll bring it back. Who knows? But
I guess,
that
I guess the NIL came in and kind of make the price go up a little bit.
Well, yeah, but, you want to shoot one of those kids now, you better have your checkbook out, right? I mean, even like Spencer and Jack and those guys kind of came in right at the beginning of NIL. They were the first ones to kind of come in there. And everyone's like, oh, they got all of this and all of that. Now, I would probably say more towards their last couple of years of playing, they probably saw a lot more opportunities than they did in the beginning, because I don't think anybody really knew how that whole thing was going to work. But now you're looking at these kids sticking around 6-7 years because they can make $2 million, playing quarter, right? I mean,
amazing, man.
Oh, no.
I know that the starter in the Big 12 is probably getting 1.2 million. Somebody in the SEC quarterbacks probably getting 2 million in the SEC to be a starter. Big 10 probably 1.5. Yeah,
man, I know. You're kidding me, man.
I know this because my agent that I have, his name's Chris Stewart. Chris and I connected about 2 years ago, and he's Drew Brees' agent, marketing. Been with Brees since he was 2005. Been with Drew for a long time, and so he came to me and he was like, "Hey, smart guy." He goes, he's from Arizona, but he lives in San Diego, and we had some mutual friends. And he said, "Hey, I'd love to be able to represent your guys, with the marketing stuff. I've been doing this my whole life, so basically all of my quarterbacks that want to go with Chris and I, or, Chris does all their collective contracts and does all their marketing, and smart, you know what I mean, and so, like I said, we try to keep everything in house, just because I just want them to be around people that they trust and then aren't try to steal from them. You know what I mean? Because some of these kids, they may or may not ever get to play in the NFL after this. But man, if you got $2 or $3 million in your bank account to start your life out with,
hey man, that's pretty good.
You know what I mean? And someone's managing that for you and teaching you how your money's going to work. You'll be all right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You may not play in the NFL, or you may not. That may or may not happen. But boy, you could definitely
have a great life.
Have a great start in your life. Who wouldn't? So it is nuts, though, isn't it? What's the NIL? They're going to probably have to figure out how to probably get some rules around it. But for now, it's I don't even understand it. It's like, geez, Louise, But hey, think about all the money colleges have made off these kids. Like when you guys, you know what I mean? Like, and your jersey and your name, image, and likeness being on the program, and this, you know what I mean? Like, they're the ones that saw the money. You guys, you got to go to school for free. Yeah, I get it, and that's important. And thank you. But the other people that go to school, they can work and make money. You know what I'm saying? Back, the kids, other student, right? They can, nothing's stopping them from getting an NIL deal. 5-10 years ago when we couldn't get it. Growing up. So it's like, what's fair is fair. They should be able to. I think Chris Webber was the one, and the Fab Five was probably that documentary I watched, on them, where you really saw how much money the school was making off of, you know what I mean, the name and image likeness of those basketball players. You know what I mean? So it's only fair, really. And if you want to wrap some rules around it, do it. But don't get mad at somebody that has an opportunity to benefit from what he's, from being good at something. It's like getting mad at a quarterback for making. They say, like, oh, that guy's getting $50 million a year. Is it a lot of money? It is, but there's 8 billion people on the planet, and there's only 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. You're probably going to make $50 million if you're one of 32 people in the whole world that's the best at your job. You're probably going to get paid. Yeah. You know what I mean? It sounds like an absurd amount of money, but when you just think about it,
but just think about it, Mike. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Rattler, Caleb Williams, all went to Oklahoma in that short period of time.
Crazy.
Oklahoma was on top, and all of them are starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
They helped them.
What are your takes on that?
Obviously, they had an opportunity to show. They had, played for Lincoln. I know Lincoln a little bit. And he gets criticized here, and I don't. That's not for me to say this or that, right? He knows his football. He knows X's and O's, and he knows how to let a quarterback shine. I'll say that, right? You don't have 4 or 5 Heisman guys and a bunch of guys playing in the league if you haven't done a good job. How do I want to say this? Letting your quarterback be the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's let those guys, play and showcase their talents. So pretty impressive. You know what I mean? Pretty impressive. All Oklahoma guys. With Dylan Gabriel spent a couple of years. I think he spent a year at Oklahoma. Then he went to Oregon last year, right? He left UCF, and he's another guy. He's probably have a chance to play maybe at the next level. So if you really think about it, you're looking at a bunch of guys. That's one school that's put out a bunch of quarterbacks you know, he just has a history of it. You know what I mean? For sure. And, you know, Baker's doing well. You know, Kyler's a starter, obviously. Jalen, you know, obviously Alabama, but, you know, that year at Oklahoma, he had a heck of a year. Just won a Super Bowl. Spencer, you know, we weren't really expecting him to play this year because Derek's the guy they're paying to be, you know, be the quarterback. But, you know, Derek's a little older, got banged up. Spence had to go in and play 6 games. So like you said, there's another guy that played at Oklahoma that, you know, obviously finished up at South Carolina, but he definitely started his career there. And so I don't know, kudos to those coaches that are, you know, having those guys be successful that come out of their program. I mean, you can't badmouth that kind of stuff. I mean, that's impressive. You know what I mean? That kind of success is taking place. And so now Lincoln's at USC, and we'll see it, you know, since Caleb left, you know, we'll see what happens here. I'm sure he'll find another guy. He always finds a guy, you know what I mean, to do what he needs to do. So yeah, but it's kind of cool to see all those guys playing, you know, and being successful. I mean, what a treat, man. Really cool.
Hey, talk about getting the opportunity to play for your father and also coach with your father.
Yeah. So I grew up, you know, wanting to, you know, my dad was a junior college coach my whole life. And so, obviously I out of high school, I would have, you know, I didn't want to have to go JUCO if I didn't have to, but, and I probably wouldn't have had to if I decided to play football out of high school. I'd have, you know, I'd had some other opportunities, but, that back when he coached in a league here in Arizona. It's called the, Western States Football League. It was Phoenix College, Scottsdale Community College, Glendale, Pima, Mesa. Great league. They shut it down in 2018. What a shame. They just canceled all junior college football out here, and it was one of the best conferences in the, you know, in the nation. And Mississippi has great, you know, JUCO football. Kansas has great, you know what I mean? There's California has their own, you know, their own deal. So I don't think people really know. When I was coaching junior college football, I mean, we probably had, out of the 22 guys, we probably had 17 guys that were going to go play, you know, Division I every, you know, off of our team every year. Where they were bounce backs that came back from this school and trying, you know, maybe didn't do something in the classroom. They had to come back. You know how it is, you know, with the JUCO stuff. So there's great players that are playing, you know, the junior college football. But yeah, so when I decided to come back, my dad was coaching. He's the offensive line coach at Phoenix College, and this was 8 years after I got done. And I said, "What the heck? I'm gonna come out and give this thing a go again." And man, I hadn't picked up a football in probably about 6 years, really thrown it or anything. And I was coaching. You know, I was kind of coaching guys. And funny thing is, I played junior college football when I played at Phoenix. I had a couple kids I was coaching in the high school couple of years before that now were on my team. That now they're a teammate. They weren't, you know, I was coaching them in high school. And now they didn't know whether to call me coach or G. You know what I'm saying? Because I was 25. Those kids are 18, 17. You know what I mean? They call me grandpa is what they call me. But no, it was, man, you know, I look back on it now, and I know my dad was a legend here in Arizona. I mean, my name is big in Arizona, not because of me, it's because of my dad. My dad coached junior college football for 40 plus years out here. I think I added up, he probably coached over 40, 50,000 guys his whole coaching career. You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, he's a legendary junior college guy out here. Everyone knew him and everyone loved him, and he passed away in 2020. But he's still, you know, he still has a presence out here. So I look back now, you know, those 2 years getting to be around him, going on the bus and traveling and just, you know what I mean? And being a lot more mature at 25 than I was at 17 or 18 if I would have played for him. You know what I mean? I'd experienced a lot more, you know what I mean? And so I could kind of look at it from his perspective, you know, and then, you know, obviously being around the guys playing on the team, you know, I was older than them. It was different, you know, for me. And, but man, it was a treat. And then, about 3 years later, I coached with him at Scottsdale Community College. He went and he became the head coach there in '96. I played for him in '92 and '93. And then he took over back at Scottsdale Community College where he had started in '72. And I coached with him probably about 8 years. I was his offensive coordinator. Okay. And then I had a brother that was 15 years younger than me. And he was a quarterback. And I got to coach my brother in high school in 1999, 2000. And then my brother came and played for me and my dad at Scottsdale Community College in 2003, 2002, 2003. So we coached my brother. And then I became a head coach at a high school. And my brother came and coached with me. My dad came and coached with me. So, you know, and they're both gone now. My brother passed away. Probably about 13, 14 years ago. Had anxiety and depression, and I have no problem talking about this because I think this is very important because it's very prevalent.
Yeah, it is.
And he had some shoulder surgery in 04, 05, and he was a quarterback at Scottsdale Community College and went to the University of Arizona to play, and then got hurt, had to go have surgery on his shoulder, and then kind of went in the tank. You know what I mean? Like, my career's done. And for the depression, he started getting hooked up on all the Xanaxes and all that stuff. And then he got kind of hooked up on, after the surgery, on the Oxycontin, coat, all that junk that was going around. Now it's fentanyl.
With the pain.
But and then just fought that for about 8 years. Just, you know what I mean? And he kind of started this quarterback training business with me in like 07. I brought him on as a, you know, kind of my partner. And then I lost him in 2011. Just didn't wake up one morning. You know what I mean? Didn't do it on purpose. It's just one of those things that happen. And but I look back now and go, got to coach him in high school, got to coach him in junior college, and he got to coach with me. You know what I'm saying? And then my dad, you know, all that. So I mean, people go their whole lives and don't have that kind of opportunity to work with, you know, that close with their family, you know. And so, yeah, it sucks they're not here anymore, but I can look back and go, man, I had a nice run with those guys. You know what I mean? So, and I tell people all the time, man, like you got to be careful if you know, anxiety, depression, that stuff's real. You know, if you want to start messing with prescription drugs and all that kind of stuff, man, it's eventually, it's not that stuff's kind of undefeated, man. It's hard to beat. You know what I mean? And so just gotta be careful. And so anyway, I've seen a lot. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot. You know, I've coached at the richest school in Arizona and the poorest school at Arizona. Okay. I've coached at the absolute poorest school and the absolute wealthiest school, and all in between. So, you know what I mean? Like I have a true perspective of I can see what different people are going through. A funny story I always share is at the school, that the lowest income school, we had 2 guys miss practice. I remember, and they showed up late, and they showed up without a shirt, and they were like in their underwear. So they were late. They're sorry we're late, coach. We got held up and robbed. Right. It's like, wow, you know. So, and then at the richest school, we had 3 guys miss practice because they were stuck in the elevator at their house because the elevator got stuck. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, that puts things into perspective. Like there's just, you know what I mean? Things are just, not everybody's got it the same. You know what I mean? No. And I had to laugh at the elevator thing. You know what I'm like, you know, these guys come back in their underwear with nothing, and you guys are stuck in the elevator at your house waiting for the butler to unlock the door. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I've but you know what? At the end of the day, when it comes to playing football, rich, poor, medium, doesn't matter. It's football.
Yeah. It's football, man.
It don't matter. You're gonna play with guys on your team that have come from money, some that don't. But man, when you all get in that huddle together, and you're all in that room, and ain't nobody's different, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got that sticker on your helmet, or when that in your name on the front of your jersey. You don't care. You don't care what. You don't give a crap about none of that stuff. You just know that you got him and he's got you. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Right?
hey, talk about coaching in India in 2012.
Yeah. So right after my brother passed away, I was a head coach at a high school. The first year he coached with me was 2011. We took the team to the playoffs. They hadn't been in 20 years. And then he passed away the spring before the 2012 season. He passed away. And I finished out that year, and I just couldn't go back. I'm like, I just, you know what I mean? It was hard to make that drive every day when he's sitting in the car, and now he's not sitting in the car. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so after the season was over, I got a phone call from a buddy of mine and said, "Hey, do you want to go to India?" And I thought he said Indiana. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like India, right? So I'm like, he's like, no, these guys are trying to take American football to India. I don't know if there was a movie out a while back, probably 8 to 10 years ago, maybe longer. It was called The $1 Million Arm. It was about the baseball guys that went out and found the cricket, two guys that were cricket pitchers, and they brought them back and took them to USC and taught them how to pitch. And so it was a movie where, and these guys actually made it to the major league or whatever. I don't know, but it's a real movie called The $1 Million Arm. And they had gone to India and did this experiment. So these guys that had seen that movie said, you know what? India's got one of the most gigantic probably the biggest population, maybe next to China. At the time, their economy was like on the rise, and so they, from a business perspective, they were like, man, we could get this on TV and get people watching it and get advertised. You know what I mean? Because of all the there's a billion people in India. So that was where the idea came from. And when they asked me to go, they had already done all the work. They'd already gone out there to 8 different Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta. These are probably places you might have heard of, may not have, but all these different cities. And they'd gone and they'd kind of put it out there that, hey, we're going to start a league. Come try out. We're going to pick you. And if we pick you, you're going to form a league and you're going to get paid and, this and that. People don't understand the average person in India makes $1,000 a year. That's it. $1,000 a year. And I didn't know this until I got there. I had no idea. So these guys were going to get paid about $350 to make the team, to be on the team. And that's probably like getting paid $35,000, to be on a team, for some, somebody would take that in a minute. Yeah, that's actually $35K. I'll take it. You know what I mean? And so there was a big incentive for these guys to want to make the team, make a team. So when I went out there in November of 2012 or 2011. I'll be honest with you. I think it was 2011. I went out there in November of 2011 and we went to this place called Pune, which is by Mumbai. And they had 4 teams there for 2 weeks, and they had 4 more teams come for 2 weeks. And basically my job was to coordinate the offense for all 4 teams, teach them football. And you got to remember, we're in there watching games. We're in there watching so they understand first down, second down, third down, fourth down, a punt. You know what I mean? Like this is not a game they knew. Okay. They did not know this game. Cricket and soccer and rugby are probably the main sports in India. Okay. They're huge. Like the cricket guys that play cricket there are like the NFL, LeBron James type. They get paid millions of dollars if they're, that at that level, at that sport. And so, so when we got there, I mean, the goal of the guy that was funding the league and raising the money, he wanted us to actually be able to play football in a year, have a full season. He was going to get a television deal. And I'm kind of going, they can't even get in a huddle. You want to play football in a year, right? They can't even understand what I'm telling them. You know what I mean? Like doubles, right? I'm just trying to break it down as simple as I can, slant arrow, you know what I mean? Like couldn't call a protection, couldn't, you know what I mean? So there's about 9 of us out there. I don't know if there's a guy that made. So the crazy thing is everyone's heard of the 46 defense, right? With the Bears 46 defense, the NFL, the Bear front, the 46. So Doug Plank was on that Bears team, and he was the guy that they named the defense after because he was the safety. He wore number 46, and he was the safety that came down and was the 8th defender in the box. So the Bear front has like 8 guys in the box, right? And so Doug at the time was out in India with us, and so he's probably in his 60s, and he's coaching the Philadelphia Soul arena team at the time. So he wasn't going to be able to put all his time and effort into this, but he was out there, and yeah, it was funny. Just some of the guys that we had out there trying to communicate and coach guys how to play football, you know. And so the first month goes by, and we made some progress. Don't get me wrong. We could actually do some 7-on-7. You know, we could get in a huddle. We could run a zone. We could run you know what I mean? Like we were. And so after that first month and a half went by, they sent us home for Christmas, and I got a call back. They're like, hey, they want you right back out there. They want to actually have a real scrimmage in April for it's the ESPN of India. It's called Asia Sport or something, whatever. I'm like, you want us to play a freaking game? You know what I mean? Like they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. We're gonna, we'll figure it out. Blah blah blah. So I go back out there, and we're going from city to city. Now we're not going. We didn't have them all in one place. We had to go to Mumbai for a week, Delhi for a week. We had to go to Pune. We had to go all these different places, and we were there for a week. And I don't know if you've ever been to India, but it's the poorest, dirtiest, filthiest place on the planet. You know what I mean? Like you do not know poverty. You'll see it. We all see it here in the States. You see it, but you don't see it like this. You know what I mean? Like you do not. It's a life changer. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, you're grateful for everything that you have. Okay. Yeah. Because you know what I mean? Like, but it didn't matter. Once again, it was football, right? So at the end of the day, it didn't matter how much money these guys had. They just wanted to be on a team and play the game. You know what I mean? So, that's the great thing about sports, right? It doesn't matter where you come from, how much money you have, don't have, whatever. You all come together for the same thing, you know? And so we did that, and we went from city to city, and it was out there for about 4 months. And then in April, they're like, okay, we're going to go to Calcutta. This is it's where the Ganges River is. I mean, there's a lot of history in India as well. So we go there, and we picked 2 teams, Delhi and Mumbai, and we decided those were the 2 teams that'd be the most ready to play. And they fly in this guy named Sandy Grossman, who directed 10 Super Bowls, to film it, and you know what I'm saying, and make it look good for a TV presentation to send to like the ESPNs of Asia. So it looked like, you know what I mean, it looked good. Oh, yeah. And I don't know how we pulled it off, but we actually within 8 months had a scrimmage, and we played a game. And I was coaching and refereeing at the same time. We didn't have any referees, so all the coaches were officiating. And then so I would get in the huddle, call the play, and then stand behind the huddle and watch the, and then officiate if we needed to. Of course, we kept our flags in our pockets for the most part. But my team won. Delhi won. We beat Mumbai. And then that was a success. And I came home, and I thought we were going to get a little bit of a break. And they were like, nope, we need you back out there. 2 other teams want to play a game. And so I had to go do another Bangalore, and I can't remember the other team. So I had to go out there and do another game at the end of May and get those teams ready. And we did that. And then in June, they sent us to Sri Lanka. So India is like a circle. And then at the bottom of it is another country called Sri Lanka. It's the bottom of India. The reason we had to go there is because they now wanted us to coach a team from Pakistan. And the Pakistan people aren't allowed in India. and the Indians people aren't allowed in Pakistan. It's that bad because there was some terror and you know what I mean.
Oh,
So
yeah. Mhm.
so we had to go down to Sri Lanka, and they said we want to put together a 6-week, 6-game exhibition season. So holy crap, got ready, did that, and by July we had them ready to play. We had 6 teams playing, you know, and they filmed it and they got the rights to it. We got to where we'd got the rights to the it looked like the TV people were interested and everything was going well, and we kept working, and then they just ran out of funding. It's expensive, right? You know, like, you know what I mean, like to house these kids and players and get coaches down there, and because I didn't want to go down there and live. They wanted me to like live down there and cut. There's no way I could last about 6 weeks, and I had to come home. And 2 months was my max. I'm like, I got to come back home, get some fresh air.
Yeah.
But and then it was hard because you got to try to train the Indian guys, the Indian coaches they're not on the same level as, you know what I mean? Like they're not ready to go run a team yet. And so
Yeah.
I was kind of back and forth with that for about 3 years. And then they finally just kind of fizzled away. And then they decided to do basketball because basketball is a lot easier because there's only 5 to 12 guys on the team. So, you know what I mean? So, but I wouldn't trade that experience in for nothing, you know, for anything. I mean, come on. I mean, I got to go, you know what I mean? And the people you meet and the experiences you have, and you know what I mean? And just being in a whole nother planet, a whole nother part of the world. And
yes, sir.
And I got to train. Also, I forgot to mention, I got to train Tim Tebow. I got to train Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick was probably 2015. Tebow was 2012. I got to work with those guys as well. Now, like I mentioned before, I get to go to Switzerland every summer and do a quarterback camp. I got a really close friend from Switzerland that coaches out there. They love football out in Germany, Switzerland, everywhere they play. They have leagues, and you know what I mean. And I met him about 8 years ago when he came to one of my camps. Just heard about it, flew down from Switzerland, and wanted to come learn, and you know, kind of learn what we do and how we coach, because he was running his own quarterback training stuff out there. Yeah. And next thing I know, he's like, "Hey, you want to come out? I'll fly you out, and I'll bring you out every year, and we'll have fun. And we'll see Switzerland." And so I'm going. You know, I'll go again this year. It'll be my 8th trip back, so our 7th trip back. So, yeah, football, man. Just from football, crazy. You know?
What is your best to the youth, Mike?
But I would say that choose your friends wisely, first and foremost. Make sure you are listening to mom and dad or grandma, whoever it is. You want to make sure that you're humble, obedient, and someone that you know, can be coached and can be disciplined, and make sure you've got passion, make sure you've got a fire burning in your belly, and make sure you're a good person, because nobody wants to be around a bad person. I tell us all the time, you know, there's no reason to go out and do things and just be mean, be spiteful, just because you could do something better than somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, look for ways to help other people. You know what I mean? And be grateful, first and foremost. Your mom and dad, whoever it is, paying for you to be able to come and train. You know what I mean? Paying for you to go to the gym, getting you in the car and taking you to all these events. Because now it's every weekend. These kids are here, there, playing a 7-on-7. Blah, blah, they're everywhere, right? And don't act like they have to. The people have to do that for you. You know what I mean? Make sure that you're grateful and you're thankful for all the things you have. I tell kids this all the time too. Like when we're walking on the field, I say this all the time, and I got this from somebody else, but my dad used to say it. It's like when you go, hey, everybody come in, and people kind of walking in, and you're trying to get everybody in the middle before you break out into another drill or something. And I always tell the kids this, and I'll tell coaches this too. I'm like, You know, when you get punished in a sport and say, well, okay, we're going to run. Now we're going to run. We're going to run sprints. But to me, running is not a punishment. Running is a privilege. You know how many people in this world can't run, can't get out of a wheelchair, can't walk, can't, you know what I mean? That would kill to run. Can I please run? Can you please run me 40-yard sprints, 100 of them, please?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? There's so many people that can't. So when I tell guys all the time, run over here. Don't. You're lucky you can run. Your feet work, man. You know what I mean? Just those lessons more than anything. I think I've had people come back and say, that stuck with me more than anything. Like, I never thought about it that way. Like, oh, we got to run now. Oh, no, you know, or we have to run. I'm like, no, you get to run. Yeah. You get to run. You don't have to. You get to. I get to work out. I get to go to training. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to. You know what I mean? You don't have to do anything. You know, if it's a have to thing, don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Don't do it. Do something else. Because if you have to do it, you probably don't want to do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I guess I could go on forever. I'm an old man with a lot of coaching cliches and things like that. But I mean, that's just my message. You know what I mean?
Yep. Any shout outs before we head out?
Yeah. Obviously, you know, Spencer Rattler and Jack and all those guys. And I'll talk to some of these guys for you guys. Damon Williams at Washington, Nico Marchio at West Virginia. I mean, I'm going to miss some guys. Devin Dampier at Utah. Got a great quarter. Got a kid did a great job in the MAC this year at Ohio. Parker Navarro, quarterback at last year at Wyoming. Evan Sabota. I mean, I'm missing some people. I mean, I'm sure I got a kid at Kai Milner at NAU. I mean, they're just everywhere. Ty Thompson at Tulane. But all my quarterbacks, man, much love, much respect for all you guys and all my young guys coming up, you know, all the youth. We went from our first major camp in 2018. We had 90 kids. And then over the last 3 years, we've averaged, 90 quarterbacks. We've averaged over 225 quarterbacks at our winter camp in January. The last 2 or 3 years, and from 30 different states, kids coming out. And this is without a lot of promo and, you know what I'm saying, and a big brand behind us or anything like that. This is just, you know, people seeing us and what we're doing and having guys be successful. So I just want to thank everybody that's, you know, come out and supported our camps and, you know, done that. And, you know, of course, all the guys that helped me do what I do. I have a lot of help, you know, coaches, and my guy that runs my social media is a heck of a guy, James Wu. So he runs Quarterback Mag too. So there's my shout outs.
All right, man. Hey, your next trip to Switzerland, hey, let us know, man. Keep us in the back of your mind.
I will. I'll let you know. I'm going. I'll let you know. It's usually in August. I'll let you guys know. Yeah. Right. Yeah, you guys plan it out. Come on out there with us, man. And it's a lot of fun. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Man, I know it is, man.
And
we'll stay in touch.
You'd have a blast. Yeah, and I look forward to like talking to you guys in the future, man. You guys were great.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
I wish you all the success, guys, for sure. And you know, just hit me up anytime.
Oh, for sure, man.
No problem. Well, everybody watching, you just tuned into a new edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. I'd like to thank my main man, KJ Kevin Johnson, former corner.
I remember watching you play, KJ.
Oh man, appreciate you.
I remember watching you play.
All right.
Sure.
Also, big shout out to Mike Giovando, all right? Quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, owner of Elev8 Quarterback Academy, okay? For everybody's watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Spotify, Deezer, Instagram, and Facebook. And you know our motto is not how you start, it's how you finish. All right? Until next time, you guys be safe, and we will see you later. Peace.
Right.